Welcome to the Collector Cave, and today we have a review of Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII Remake by PlayArts Kai. I've been waiting to review this figure for a long time. Sephiroth, if you're a big Final Fantasy fan, Final Fantasy VII fan, Sephiroth's probably the most well-known villain in the Final Fantasy universe. Maybe in gaming as a whole. He's almost like a Darth Vader of video game villains. And man, back in the day, I'm talking like early 2000s, I overpaid on eBay for a Bandai Sephiroth out of Japan and an actual black materia orb with a stand and everything. It's so hard to come by. I wish I would have kept it, but I resold it on eBay years later. Lost out on my money on that one, but regardless, here I am now with a Sephiroth figure in like a 1/8 scale format, about a 10-inch, 11-inch tall figure. Not quite 1/6 scale though. But anyway, I've been reviewing a bunch of these. So far it's been all the heroes, and now we finally have a villain here in Sephiroth. And I can't wait to open this guy. The box is bigger than your standard box. If I compare, for example, here Barrett, who I haven't opened up yet, but Barrett's box isn't as wide as Sephiroth, nor is it as deep, as you can see. Overall, the size difference here, it's probably a good 2 inches, and the main reason for that is that Sephiroth's sword, Masamune, is in here. And it's, in real life, it's supposed to be like 7 feet long. So the sword is taller than Sephiroth. And so for them to get the sword in here, it's even on an angle, they had to make the box bigger just for Masamune. So that is so cool. If we zoom in a little bit on this figure here and look at some of the details here, here is the Square Enix Products logo. And then here is the Final Fantasy VII Remake logo. PlayArts Kai, Sephiroth. To my knowledge, there's not a second version of this figure. PlayArts Kai has gone back and remade some of these figures, updating them like Tifa, Cloud, and Barrett. But with regard to Sephiroth, it's just this is just the original release. They got him right the first time, as they should have. And then you have your choking hazard for 3 years, and then this is for ages 15 and up. So there's your disclaimer. And then this figure was released, according to this, in 2020. That's when Remake came out. I think the figure came out maybe in 2021 or 2022, though, honestly. And then down here we have our hologram, which lets us know it's an official product from PlayArts Kai. There's a lot of bootlegging with a lot of these import figures, so this is official. I actually bought this from Square Enix North here in America on their website, and honestly, I've got all mine from BBTS so far, but this is the first one from Square Enix North, and there's a little bit of damage in the corner of the box. I'm not going to resell this, and I'm going to open it, but I'm a little disappointed that right directly from their warehouse, there's damage, and Barrett's box has got some damage too. But anyway, on the back here, we see some awesome shots of the figure. Look at Sephiroth there in his uniform, his long flowing silver white hair. There's Masamune, his 7-foot-long katana. Here is like his official stance, and I really want to try and strike that pose. So I'm hoping we can do that. I'm hoping that ball joint isn't popped out in the arm for the photo, and we can actually strike that pose. I haven't watched any videos on this guy, reviews. So I'm going into this kind of, cold turkey, which I like to do. I feel I can share my emotion, good or bad that way the best. And here's one him looking off in the distance. And then down here, if you care about UPC, there's the UPC code. It talks about the different types of metal and plastic. There's actual some metal in the figure and joints, and then the base has some metal in it as well as ABS. And there's some information about Square Enix. So enough of this stuff. Let's get into this figure. In my excitement to unbox him, I almost forgot that, part of the packaging is this open window here that has 2 magnets here to keep it closed. But a really cool job by PlayArts Kai with this packaging. I really like it a lot. And then in here you see the figure. There's Sephiroth. He comes with some extra hands. There's his symbol, One-Winged Angel, that, his theme song. And then there's the second head sculpt there too with his eyes closed. And in the back you can just kind of make out Masamune there. It goes the whole diagonal distance of this box. So this thing is huge. And then here's, of course, the awesome visual of Sephiroth and the fire. And if I scroll in here or zoom in here, let you guys read this. Maybe you can pause if you want to read this. This just talks about the game in the first couple of paragraphs, something that every of these boxes has. And then here, the last 2 paragraphs talk about Sephiroth. So if you want to pause and read this, I kind of want to read it, but I also want to get into the figures. So feel free to pause and read. Okay, and every one of these figures comes with some directions. It's pretty straightforward. You can replace the faceplate with a second faceplate with the closed eyes, and it shows you there that the front part of the hair comes out, and then you just put the faceplate in. And then it shows you the different types of hands he comes with. It looks like he has 8 hands total, and then the 2 hands that can hold the sword, and then the base with the flight stand, which is all standard fare for these figures. And then here is Sephiroth. There's his extra hands, and with the Play Arts Kai, the hands come on a little stand. So it's kind of nice that you can put them on a stand. So if you don't want to keep the packaging, you could just keep those on a stand, either displayed or put away so they stay together and don't get lost. And then here is Sephiroth. I've taken off the top plastic shell so you can see a better look of him. And he's wrapped in plastic to help protect during shipping, which is a nice touch they did. And then here's that head sculpt with the closed eyes. And then behind him is Masamune, his katana, and below him is the base. So let's get this guy out of package and take a look at him in closer detail. Okay, and here is Sephiroth unboxed with everything he comes with. We have the stand over here, and these are all the same. If you have a few of these, it's the same thing. You get the stand here with the flight pole, and then 2 different size clamps. And I think in Sephiroth's case, he'll actually need the larger clamp to go around his waist if you decide to use the clamp. He stands pretty good in his own, so he might not need it. And then here is Masamune. I just measured this thing from tip to the front of the hilt, so the metal part of the blade comes in at 11.25 inches in length. And then overall, the whole thing is 13.75 inches. It is massive. It's super tall. I mean, look at this. If I stand it up next to him, look at how much taller it is than him. It's so awesome. And the detail work, let's see if we can zoom in here and look at this a little bit. Might be hard to focus with him in the way. Let's see here. So yeah, it's kind of tough to focus on this, but there it is. Nice work on the handle here. And then the blade's not really sharp. Now obviously with little kids, you want to be careful. Little kids shouldn't be around this though, based off of the age appropriateness for this. It is sharp on the end. You could cut yourself or hurt yourself in the end here, but the blade looks really good. It's done, it's some sort of like metallic paint. Looks really good. And then here is the additional face sculpt. We zoom in on this, and you can see here, he's got his eyes closed. We'll swap those out in a minute. And then here is all of his hands he comes with, plus the 2 fists he has on right now. So the 2 on the right are for holding the sword, and then you got a couple here like he's posing with the sword, maybe casting meteor or something like that. I think one thing with these figures I wish they would have done is include materia with them. Like Yuffie comes with a hand that's holding green materia. How awesome would it have been if Sephiroth came with a hand holding the black materia, meteor? That would have been epic. And now I'm a little disappointed. I may have to find a black, like a small marble or something, and silly tack it onto, or putty tack it onto one of these hands, because that would be awesome. I think that's a missed opportunity on Play Arts Kai's side. But regardless, let's go back to the figure here and look at him. He stands exactly 11 inches tall. So he is massive. He's really tall. And if we zoom in and get some detail on him here, look at his hair. His hair is pliable. Let's see if we can get his face. He has those soldier eyes, just like Cloud, very cool. And then his armor, which, this is pretty much how he looked in the original Final Fantasy. They just reimagined it for, FF7 Remake. And the detail on this is awesome. Those shoulder pauldrons, the armor looks really good. His chest in there. It's kind of, his flesh in here is kind of a soft rubber. It actually squeezes a little bit up by the neck area. And then there's the belt. One-winged angel, there's his symbol right there. Really cool. And then the detail in his coat, the buckles, and then there's his feet. Really imposing looking figure. I can't wait to put Cloud next to him to show the height difference, to see how really imposing Sephiroth is. So let's go ahead and do some articulation now. Okay, so the head is on a ball joint. It goes forward. If I move my hand from the hair, the head goes forward, but because the hair is so heavy, the head won't stay. This back piece of hair is really heavy. But you can get, because of the hair being so heavy, you really can't get him to stay in some of these poses. It goes back because the collar, not too much. So even though it's on a ball joint, you're not getting a lot of range. But I think with Sephiroth, that's okay. You can get him to look a little bit to the side. Now the hair piece back here, you have these loose strands that are kind of a really soft rubber that can move out of the way. Then you have this piece, which is solid. It's rubbery a little bit, but not as much as like these are. And this is on a ball joint. So you can make that come out. If I pop his head off, let's just go ahead and do that. You can see the ball joint right here. Let me zoom in a little bit. It's a ball hinge joint. So right now I have the hinge going up and down, so the hair can go up and down. But you can also rotate that ball joint hinge so you can get the hair to go sideways. So you can get a wind blowing look, like the hair is coming out to the side. And we'll do that for some shots in a little bit. I'll keep his head off for the rest of the articulation. It's just easier because his hair is so long. The arms don't go up a full 90, as you can see here. They're limited, and even though these pads are on some plastic rubber tabs inside here, that's all you're going to get. There is a bicep swivel, and then a single jointed elbow, which goes over 90, which isn't bad. And if you look at the elbow, it doesn't look too bad. Some of the joints in the Play Arts Kai aren't the prettiest, but that one's not bad. And then the hands are a ball hinge wrist on ratchets, which is always a nice thing with these heavy weapons these FF characters have. And then the upper chest, there is a ball joint here, but with all his garb on and everything, you really can't do much. You can go back pretty good because of that lower ball joint, and you can crunch forward a little bit. You just don't get a lot here. But the one at the waist, you can twist, and the belt moves. You can move the belt around. The belt should be off to the side a little bit, not even. And then so you can twist it. You can, bend it with the ball joint there. And then the legs are on ratchets, but you don't get a full 90 because I think of the cape, or the coat, it gets out of the way, but it's not a full 90. And then the knees are double jointed. Again, not the prettiest knee in the world, but also not terrible. With it being all black, it's kind of okay. And then the feet are on ball hinge, and they're on ratchets, as you can see there. So it goes down really far, and it goes up really far. And there is a little bit of rocker, not a whole lot, but there's a little bit of rocker. And then there's what the bottom of the boot looks like, a flat boot. And his toes articulation, which don't want to work on mine. They're kind of like, oh, there we go. They were stuck a little bit. Now they're kind of loose. Ooh, that kind of scares me. Yeah, I'm afraid that one's froze up. I think there is thigh articulation, rotation, but it's not wanting to move for me. So I'm not going to worry about it. The whole ball joint does move a bit, though. I'm just afraid, this figure's been sitting probably in a warehouse for a couple years. I just don't want to take any chances. Not with Sephiroth. And then the cloak or the cape or the coat closes back up pretty good. So, you know, he has the articulation, but because of his outfit, I don't think you're going to get a lot of dynamic poses with him, honestly. So let me go ahead. Let's see here. He can almost fold his arms if he had butterfly joints, which he doesn't have butterfly joints, unfortunately. His arms, you can kind of see in here the ball joint, how that's done. It's really done differently. Boy, it's hard to tell. But yeah, it actually comes out. So it doesn't raise up, unfortunately, because of that, which is interesting. You think that should raise up. But the joints are all smooth. The arm joints are nice and smooth. They feel good, buttery. So let's go ahead and strike a few poses on the turntable. Okay, I want to show everyone something in case you get this figure or you haven't moved around in a while. Some of this hand peg came completely out in his right arm. When I went to take it out to change it out for a sword holding hand, the whole peg came off. And just so you know, this bangle comes off, which is, it's supposed to, that's fine. But the hand and the ball peg would not come out. I got vice grips, as you can see here, and I put the ball peg in the vice grips so I wouldn't break it. And then I used a blow dryer for quite a bit, a good minute on and off, 30 seconds on and off, until this hand, finally I was able to hold the vice grips and then pull the hand out with my hand. It was on there tight. So be very careful if you have to do this with this figure, because you could either break the ball peg and they don't give you extras, or with his hand for the holding the katana, that hand it's hard. These hands are hard plastic. They're not soft, which kind of bothers me. And it could be this was like one of the first figures they made. They've made improvements since, but his hands are all hard plastic. So I had to heat this thing up really good with a blow dryer to get it pliable enough to get past the end of the katana there and then up into the hilt. So if I wouldn't have done that, I'm either going to break the hand or break the katana hilt, because that katana hilt is long and it's hard plastic. So just a word of warning when you guys do this, be very careful. Let's get this hand on finally. All right, here's Sephiroth on the turntable. And I'll tell you what, these hand pegs are so tight. I mean, it could be another problem where they're too loose and the hands don't stay in, but they are so tight. You have to be very careful, at least with mine. I'm hoping other people's don't have the same issue as mine, but I'm fairly certain it's probably a production issue. But they're so tight that you have to be really careful you don't break the wrist pegs. And getting those hands in are super, super tight as well. So very difficult. So I definitely suggest either hot water or a hair dryer. You don't want to melt the plastic, but you definitely got to get it warm enough so it will be able to be pliable enough to get the hands on. But here's a pose I have of Sephiroth kind of holding his blade up. The blade is so long I have to be careful my camera doesn't hit it. It's so massive. But he is so cool looking. Man, he looks awesome. Look at that detail. Let's zoom in a little bit here. See what we can get. Yeah. The sword is so long, it's almost hard to figure out how to have him hold it. It's so over the top. It's almost unwieldy, right? But that is awesome. His hair flows great. Awesome looking figure. Very cool. Let's try some more poses here. So here's something I didn't realize. When I just took the hand off, the end of the hilt comes off to make it easier to put this hand on. So this hand I have not warmed up at all, and it slides on no problem. So that mistake was mine. So yeah, and then it goes on. So it goes on good. You just gotta take that end off. I didn't know that. Good to know. And I almost forgot. I believe Sephiroth is left-handed. So I had the Masamune in the wrong hand initially, but I just did it for a shot. So let's go ahead and see what we can get now with some other poses. All right, trying to strike that pose that he does. It doesn't really turn out too well. this arm doesn't go up high enough. And then this arm needs a ball. It should have been a butterfly on his right arm to pull over more. So I think in that promo shot, they probably have it popped off, or they've photoshopped it. Unless I can really work it. I don't know. I haven't watched other videos. Maybe other people can pull it off, but I'm having a hard time trying to pull off that that look. Doesn't look too bad from this way. I did move the ball joint in the hair, so the hair is now flowing out to the side. So that's kind of cool that you can do that. But yeah, this it's just, you can't get the arm up high enough to get it back far enough, and this one doesn't come over far enough. So yeah, I just don't know how you can pull that shot off to make it look really awesome, which is too bad, because that's the pose I wanted. But let's see what else we can do with them. Okay, one thing I do want to show is how to change out the face sculpt. So the hair just slides out. It's real rubbery, and you see it where it plugs in right there. And then the face sculpt just gets unplugged like that. And then we can put the other face sculpt in, which is with his eyes closed. If I can get this thing to go in. There we go. And then the head sculpt with the hair sculpt goes in over that, just like so. And then we pop the head back on. But there's that look with the closed eyes. Pretty cool look. Let's strike a pose. All right, so this is a pretty cool pose. He's got his sword up. He's like meditating. Maybe he's getting ready to cast Meteor with his black materia. That's a really cool look. Let's just go ahead and do a really detailed look of this figure real quick. Yeah, so really cool look. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, it wouldn't fit in the detolf because the sword is so huge. In fact, I don't know if it's going to fit in the detolf with the sword being down anyway, because it's massive. Regardless, that's a cool look. Let's go ahead and do a couple size comparisons now. All right, here's the comparison you probably want to see. Cloud Strife next to Sephiroth. And as I said, Sephiroth comes in at 11 inches exactly. And I believe Cloud was 10 and a half to 10 and a quarter, something like that. He looks a lot bigger here. But if I get the tape measure out, if we go to the top of Cloud's head, yeah, like almost 10 and a half inches. And Sephiroth is exactly 11. So it looks like a bigger height comparison than that. But side by side, these two look really good. You know, one has the katana, one has the huge Buster sword. And side by side, this is a cool comparison. And here is Aerith next to oops, sorry about that. 1 second, let's fix that. And here is Aerith next to Sephiroth. Ooh, man, what a height difference. Holy cow. And get Cloud back in here again, behind Aerith. Yeah, so Sephiroth, man, he towers over everybody. You know, I don't have any of the Turks like Reno or Rude. I wonder how tall those guys are. I think they're probably about the same height as Cloud. But I think this is accurate. I think it's accurate. Sephiroth should be this tall. So there's some comparisons. Let's go ahead and wrap this video up. So at the end of the day, is this figure worth it? It's still available on Square Enix North website for the original retail price. I think it was like 154 plus like $10 shipping. At least to my house, it was from California. I don't think he's available on BBTS. He's sold out. So if you want him, I suggest maybe you act on it quickly, because I don't know if they'll ever make any more. They probably will. There might be a Rebirth version, although I haven't seen Square Enix announce any new PlayArts Kai Rebirth figures yet, which I'm hoping they do, because we don't have the whole team yet. We just have the members from FF Remake. So anyway, regardless to Sephiroth, if you're a huge FF7 fan, if you like Sephiroth, like so many people do, I think this figure's worth it. Posability, he can't get as many poses as I was hoping for due to all the armor and the coat and everything. But again, I think with Sephiroth, like any villain, you can strike some very subtle poses that make them look very imposing. And you can do this with Sephiroth. So just having that sword in view is imposing enough. Masamune, as you can see, it comes way out. Look at that thing; it's so big. So anyway, yeah, I think this figure is great. I'm glad I have him. Looking forward to posing him in my Detolf, assuming Masamune fits. But anyway, if you like what you see, please subscribe, comment, like. I enjoy comments. I enjoy interacting with everybody. So let me know what you guys think about this figure and other PlayArts Kai figures I've been reviewing here lately. So until next time, this has been PlayArts Kai Final Fantasy VII Remake Sephiroth.